What's up, everyone? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic.
I'm Jammin, John.
And we have an album review, and easily my most anticipated album of the month of August.
Yeah.
We're longtime fans of this band. We went over the last one. Well, we'll get into that because we're going over the latest offering from Deftones, Private Music. This comes out on the 22nd of August on Warner/Reprise Records. This band formed in 1988 in Sacramento, California. This is their 10th album overall. I have been a fan since Around the Fur. I heard that in high school. I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. And that was back in my, Jinko wearing fucking dyed blonde hair days.
Also guilty.
Yeah. You know, the 90s were a collection of weird music and odd fashion statements.
I've been a fan of this band since Adrenaline. I mean, I'm a Deftones fan. What do you want? They've made leaps and bounds in their career, and they have become such a giant thing just everywhere on the fucking internet. You can't go anywhere without hearing Deftones music.
We went over their last album, Ohms, which was absolutely awesome. A really eclectic mix of different styles. It was, just wild and emotional. I mean, the usual adjectives we use to describe Deftones. I actually did a deep dive over on Gas Mask and Hand Grenades. We went over all the Deftones albums, excluding this one because it wasn't out yet. And it was an absolute blast just going back through and listening to all those albums. And, I mean, for those that don't know, all right. What are Deftones? Here's the thing. You can throw them in, the alt metal category. They're also kind of shoegaze. They were nu metal. I mean, they had a DJ, but the DJ decided, fuck the turntables, want to get some, cool keyboards and do, some more ambient stuff.
Which was a good idea.
Great idea. And... yeah, describing this band is difficult, but, I mean, most of the time I will just say, they're Deftones, just listen to them.
Yeah, I mean, they're in their own category. I think they've been in their own category easily since probably White Pony. That's where their sound kind of changed from that nu metal sound to just the sprawling, vast beauty, groove, droning, shoegazy, beautiful thing that they are. Now,
this is their first album since Diamond Eyes without, their bassist, Sergio Vega, who came over from Quicksand, which that was an influential band to them. He departed on, I don't think, the best terms. I kind of feel like he got a bit of a raw deal, but that's just me. But interestingly enough, this marks a return in terms of a producer, Nick Raskalenix, who did the production on Diamond Eyes and Koi no Yokan, both of which really successful albums, both of which sounded absolutely beautiful. And guess what? This one sounds fucking amazing too. The production, I mean, I had no doubt when I heard the first single, My Mind is a Mountain, which opens up this album. Mm-hmm. It is lush. It is heavy.
Gigantic.
Dense, but melodic and atmospheric. It's kind of everything I want from the Deftones right from the rip. You get these lush droning riffs and fun snare turnovers into this kind of lumbering groove, and Chino comes in and kind of a desperate sort of wailing. It's heavy, but it's, again, very pretty and shoegazy. It's Deftones.
I mean, these guys work so well together as musicians, and they've been doing it for such a long time that, right from the rip, everything is just locked. And it doesn't leave that locked state throughout the entire record, but just immediately, everything hits hard. But it's such a good mixture in between heavy and bright and airy and shimmering and beautiful. And it just, the whole time. Now, it does get a whole lot darker and a whole lot heavier. One of the things I love about the Deftones is, again, their ability to mix super ultra heavy with really beautiful. Lock Club, Souvenir, Cut Hands. All of these songs are monstrously heavy. The riffs in these songs are fucking amazing.
The guitar tone is absolutely massive on here. And I will say, I think this is a more guitar-driven album this time. Mm-hmm. Naturally, anytime the Deftones come out with an album, actually, most times any band comes out with an album, I compare it to the last. And Ohms felt like a little bit more experimental. There was a lot of empty space, in terms of space between the riffs and such. It had heavier moments, but it felt like a little bit more experimental. Honestly, it felt like a heavier, darker version of White Pony at certain points. This album has a completely different vibe from Ohms. This is a little bit more focused. Mm-hmm. These songs are driven by catchy riffs and catchy vocal melodies. In fact, I'd say this is some of Chino's best vocal work on here in terms of finding good, solid hooks to latch onto and still kind of crooning about the ether and generating his just very ghostly, haunting vocals that he does so well. But the songs go for the hook big time. The choruses really jump out at you. The riffs are catchy. When it came down to like writing these songs, like my guess is the core of this, they wanted to just like anchor these songs with good, solid hooks and then dress them up in all the beauty that they are known for. And it really shows. Like, all these songs are infectious. Ecdysis, I Think About You All the Time, which is an almost tender, shoegazy ballad that gets kind of heavy out of nowhere.
It's the sploosh song.
It is.
Panties just combust. That's it. Just poof, gone.
You know the old Warner Brothers cartoons where, people can get like led by a scent, turns into hands and pulls them?
Yeah.
That's what that song does, except it leads right to Chino's bedroom. It's downright sultry and sexy, but also passionate, lush, and what this band excels at, as we were kind of alluding to, is contrast and making it work. You have frequent moments on here where you get big, bottom-heavy, chuggy riffs, but on top of that you have Frank, who is like the secret weapon in the band, I think
so.
Layering on these beautiful synth passages and all the space in between. Other times it's Chino doing like something a little bit more evocative with his vocals, or maybe something a little bit more desperate over like a cleaner, more bright sort of melody. And that is just kind of a thing that Deftones do exceedingly well, and it really shows on here. Like, Milk of the Madonna is probably, all right, if you're like a new Deftones fan, this is your Be Quiet and Drive moment, probably.
I think that's where it is. You know what's funny is when I first heard this single, I didn't like it as much as I liked My Mind Is a Mountain. But when you get to this point in the record, in context, it fits. Like, it's very natural and free-flowing. And again, like you said, this generation's Be Quiet and Drive. Like, I like it now where it sits in the record, and having heard the rest of this, like, it's a banger.
I mean, it kind of does what Be Quiet and Drive does. You have those big shimmering melodies, and they kind of, sounds like a little bit haunting, a good galloping, straightforward rhythm, though this one's a little bit faster. And then the chorus hits, and you get this galloping hook, and Chino's talking about it, something being on fire. I don't know. Probably someone's panties. But it's a big, bold, hooky chorus. And you get that cool contrast between the verse and chorus. And then the bridge hits, and it's just... It just reaches for this giant hook and fucking nails it. And that's the thing on here, like... sometimes Deftones kind of wander about the song. They kind of go with the atmosphere. I know a lot of Chino's lyrics and vocal delivery is almost kind of like a stream of consciousness at times. It doesn't feel like that on here. It feels like no, let's match up as much as we can and really deliver big, bold hooks.
No, you still get that wandering about, especially in the last two tracks, Metal Dream and Departing the Body, which are easily the most kind of vast and open, free-flowing things. I know especially on Departing the Body, which actually features some of Chino's deepest vocals, I think, ever.
I've never heard him croon that deeply.
Yeah, like like he sounds like a man.
He sounded like Mark Lanigan for a second. I was like, wait, what? No, he's not around anymore.
But then it explodes into the ether, and then you get kind of that airy, breathy, free-flowing stream of consciousness. So I don't want anybody to think that Chino's abandoned that vocal style, because it's still here. It's just not the main focal point of the record.
I will say that he screams a lot less on here. Like, the screams themselves, like when they do show up, feel a little bit held back, but they still feel very emotional. A lot of this is Chino kind of just singing a lot.
Yeah.
And it's really good, like hitting some like decidedly really high notes, more like sustained notes, and then kind of like blending in like, all of the atmosphere in here, because this is lush as hell. Departing the Body has some of my favorite, moments of atmosphere on it, because there's like these amazing synth passages that come in like, I don't know, like wind chimes in the rain. It's hard to describe, but it's that shimmering quality. It adds another layer of beauty to the song. I was gonna say though that Metal Dream and Cut Hands are probably the two tracks I'd say are like a little bit more throwback-ish. Like there's a little, Around the Fur, maybe a little bit of adrenaline in there. Chino kind of raps again, kind of.
Yeah, in the song Cut Hands, he's got this really cool staccato vocal pattern that goes over the verse, and so like that's cool. I don't know if it's rap per se, but the way it's presented kind of makes it feel like that.
You get this really interesting contrast between, the verses and the big hooky, like shoegazy chorus. It goes from Like, again, like, something you could maybe associate a little bit more with, like, you know, the earlier nu metal days to, like, the stuff where they really started embracing, like, you know, Quicksand and Hum and, you know, Chino's love of, like, The Cure and the Smiths. God, I fucking hate Morrissey. But all that started to come out a little bit more. It's a cool little moment of past and present meeting up. You know, same thing on Metal Dream, which is almost kind of like jazzy a little bit too. And once again, props to Abe. Abe is underrated as a drummer. This guy is a groove machine. His accents are great. A lot of his work is very subtle and low key, but if you pick up on it, that dude is just like, I don't know, he's just an amazing drummer.
It's just so tight and so solid, and just when that guy grooves, when he locks in on a groove, it's not anything technical by any means, but it's like the world's best, like, funky, tight groove. And he just does so well, dude. The drums in Ecdysis, I think, are some of my favorite. Again, nothing too flashy there, but that in comparison to that blindingly heavy groove that's on top of it, it's just so fat and so perfect.
You get some, like, really cool industrial synths to kind of set that one off, and then it gets into this drum and bass groove.
Yeah.
And it really locks on that. And honestly, it features some of, like, Steph's most metallic riffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just going, like, with a heavy chromatic chug on there. But then it opens up, like, some bigger, you know, more strummed, heavy chords and a big fucking chorus. Once again, like, all over the place in terms of, like, just big, catchy choruses, but presented in different ways. Like, I don't feel as though any of these tracks run into one another. Mm-hmm. And in terms of an album flowing for the Deftones, like, man, this album, it's just nonstop in terms of, like, the hooks, and the atmosphere, and the passion behind it. Mm-hmm. But none of the songs really run into one another. You have, like, you know, good heavier tracks, the more lush tracks. And this band is so good at both sides of the coin, like, you could just flip it at random and just like, yeah, no, we can change over and do that. And yeah, it's showcased all over this album, especially the longer songs too. Souvenir and Departing the Body, both around the 6-minute mark, and definitely explore a lot of, like, really cool dynamics, you know, longer stretched out bridges, more ambient sections. And again, like, there's no point on here where I feel like anything kind of, you know, goes a little too off the rails or dives into anything that's a little too strange. Like, it's all in the Deftones' comfort zone, but over the years, their comfort zone has just kept growing and growing.
Well, that's what happens when you take time between records and you're not just continuously pumping out shit. Like, you can tell they took their time with this record. You could tell, once again, that they were all focused, all dialed in, all kind of had the same thought pattern as far as things were going to flow with these songs. Like, they're very well put together. And I think taking that amount of time between records, you know, it gives not only your other material a chance to breathe, but you get a chance to learn about, you know, not only what your fans want, but the progression of music over the years, and, like, you get a chance to kind of hone in and really dial things in because you took your time with it. And you can definitely tell they took their time with this.
That, you know, Deftones stylistically, they kind of just have their own thing. Like, yeah, there's a lot of bands that I could say, oh yeah, that sounds like a Deftones bit, but when it comes down to, like, you know, I'm saying a band is like, oh, this is just, you know, pure Deftones. Like, very rarely do I run in a band that just does Deftones so well that it, like, you know, it's uncanny.
Right.
There's been a couple in the past that I remember, like Relative Ash, which, I mean, they didn't hide it, and hell, they even kind of looked like the Deftones.
Right.
I met those dudes. But, you know, when it came down to, like, you know, staying power, they only put out one album. And while it had its moments in comparison to, like, an actual Deftones album, it came off flatter than the Earth that Steph believes in. Earth's not flat, Steph.
It's not.
It's not. In terms of any negatives on here, I don't have any. I really enjoyed the shit out of this entire album. And I've been critical of Deftones in the past. Like, yeah, I love the shit out of them. They're definitely up there with, like, one of my favorite bands. But there are definitely albums that have missed the mark in the past. Like, you know, I think the self-titled album might be a little rough around the edges and fucking depressing as hell. And Gore was definitely a misfire too, even though I found some songs I still really enjoy in this. This is consistent through and through. Mm-hmm. Every track was really, really good. And I can't even fault anything on here. Like, the guitar work is awesome on here. Frank's melodies behind all of that. The atmosphere is amazing. I think this is one of Chino's strongest vocal performances.
I do.
Abe's a fucking beast, and the bass work in here is awesome, and that was done by Fred Seblin, who's their touring bassist, who I totally forgot to mention at the beginning of the video with the whole bassist change. Sorry, but yeah, everything on here is not even exactly what I wanted. It's better than what I wanted. I'll be completely honest there.
I don't have any complaints either. I really don't. Actually, from pretty much beginning to end, this record is a banger. The songs all flow really well. Well crafted, well constructed. Again, they're tight, they're focused. Chino, yeah, I agree. I think this is one of Chino's best vocal performances really ever. Just packed full of riffs. The drum work is amazing. Yeah, and from song to song too, it flows really well. Like again, you were talking about they didn't have anything that ran into each other. Like if anything, this record just progresses from heavy to kind of softer and encompasses that full spectrum of music. It's heavy, it's groovy, it's airy, it's open, it revisits the past. Great songs, great album. I don't have any complaints. So overall, and I don't do this often, but goddamn it, this record deserves it. I'm going to give it 5 stars. It's awesome. If you're a fan of the Deftones before, you're still going to be a fan of this. Again, very well written. I'm just going to, I don't know, repeat everything I just said a minute ago, but it's 5 stars and it's awesome. If you're a fan of Deftones before, you're really going to love this. And if you're new to the Deftones camp, you're really going to love this. And I think no matter what era of Deftones you came in on, you're going to love this. It's masterfully done. It's a beautiful record. I don't think I'm going to ever take it off. It's going to be jammed a lot. I can tell you that right now. And it's 5 stars. And I stand wholeheartedly beside that. And I don't give a fuck. So, yeah, 5 stars.
It's close to 5 stars. I'm going to give it 4.5. I know. I'm just reluctant to pull the trigger on
You're
another
a piece
5
of shit.
stars. You know what? I still love it. I will probably say I think this is like the best thing they've put out since Saturday Night Wrist. Like, and I love Diamond Eyes.
Yeah.
Koi is a great album too. Man, this is such a dynamite fucking album, track to track. There's no weak points on here. Chino sounds absolutely amazing in here. The songs sound desperate, beautiful, heavy, anguished. Just the full spectrum of emotions. The production here is absolutely amazing. Nick did a fantastic job once again. Again, I feel like the focus on this one was to just like drive home big hooks because these songs are absolutely infectious, but they still do everything that I want the Deftones to do outside of that. You know, add a lot of like different atmospheric layers, like contrasting elements. They're all over here, but everything works maybe better than it has in a long time. And that isn't to say like any of the albums that I would, put behind this one are trash. I fucking love this band. But I don't know, like this far into their fucking career, 10 albums, and this is up there with like one of their best. Holy shit, this album's awesome. If you're a longtime Deftones fan and you've listened to this, then you know. I'm reasonably sure you know. I don't know. I can't see Deftones fans hating this, but then again, we all hear things differently. But I don't know. This kind of just does everything I want this band to do and does it with just such fucking gusto. Yeah, if you're a big fan of, again, like just Deftones in general, and again, like Hum and like Quicksand and
Sermon and
just
Hangman's
like
Chair.
Stuff like that. Stuff that's just like, it's heavy, but it's like got the texture of velvet at the same time. Yeah, that's like kind of the best way I can put it. Just check this album out. It's amazing. So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you were new to the channel, subscribe because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They're only 99 cents. And our lone perk is doing a members-only live stream, which we need to get to. We owe you maybe 1 or 2 of those. I know.
We could go live every fucking day for the next week, and I don't think it would make up for the fact that we haven't really done anything.
Yeah.
Just trust us. Life has been crazy and chaotic and kind of fucked up for a few of us. We will get there.
Yeah.
We promise you.
My memberships are the main way to support the channel, and if you would like to join up and talk about how sexually charged this album was and how much it, enhanced your pelvis, then you can hit that join button, and we'll just make that whole conversation weird as fuck.
Kind of like it is now. That was kind of weird.
You can't see what's going on beneath this table, but I'll give you a hint. Deaf bones.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. Even if you don't hit the membership button, though, it's cool because we do non-members only live streams, which I guarantee we'll get back to here. We'll get back to all this shit eventually. Discography rankings, I promise you, At the Gates is coming. Once again, things have been kind of fucky in the Thralls camp here, but we're getting through it. We do it for you guys because we appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of everything. Thank you for being a part of the Thralls of Metal family, which continues to grow, which will never stop being mind-boggling. But we appreciate you. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys absolutely roll. Tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you because you guys are awesome, and we will catch you later.